And welcome back, everyone, to our lovely broadcast here at the NECC Games. We are coming to you live with the fourth match of the evening between Fresno State and UC Davis here on the Overwatch opening week. Brand new face. I am Orbital. I was here yesterday, but this time I'll be joining Unicorn, who cast that lovely broadcast just last match. And Unicorn, how you feeling?
Hey, doing well. Excited to jump right back into the action after a crazy 3-0 where Florida absolutely popped off. I'm excited to see the same thing here as we watch Fresno and UC Davis go at it. Any predictions as we jump into this? It looks like both of these teams, just based off of SR Orbital, have kind of gotten a bye in those placements weeks. So immediately up into highest division. They're ready to come out and rock it strictly based off those SR numbers. Who do you got for this one?
Oh, come on. You don't want to ask me that. We all know about the caster curse. You can't trick me that way. But either way, I'm excited because, with these two obviously bumping past that, the preliminary division ratings and everything of the sort, they don't have to play any of these intros. They got to be good. They are going to bring that A game, and they always want to save the best for last. Now, of course, you all know the drill. It is going to be the same three maps for everyone. So we'll get to see, possibly a little bit higher tiers, some crazy different strategies maybe coming out, maybe the sneaky plays left and right. But again, overall, I'm expecting some clean play, some crazy shots, and maybe some coordination that surprises all of us here for week one. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
You're okay. You're okay. I couldn't agree more. I think what we're going to see at this level of play is definitely, like you mentioned, a lot more practice, right? Cleaner executions on things, really executing on whether it be a slight positional mistake, like we saw Florida do so well previously, or just running a comp to the highest value, right? To its value at an extreme. So really being able to come in, take advantage of every asset that your comp can bring, take advantage of the highest heroes right now in the meta and what they can offer, whether that be the Echo, the Wrecking Ball, a Diva, Zenyatta, whatever it may be. But we're going to find out nice and quick here as we jump onto Busan. On the red team, we have UC Davis. On the blue team, we have Fresno. As we jump into a control point here, what type of heroes are you looking for, Orbital?
The standard is what we hope to have. Like you said, the meta kind of determines as we go. So a couple of those supports running through. Oh my gosh, my brain did not want to work there. I'm very sorry. Um, But of course, my main thing is, of course, the DPS. I am hoping to see some trades coming out here because on control, it's a lot more of who is getting the upper hand, who has that advantage throughout those points, right? And you want to make sure that you are always adjusting appropriately. And already we do see a Widowmaker over on Fresno State. So I am slightly excited, but again, the mirrored wrecking balls to bring out a little bit of pain and trying to trying to shove a little bit of control around there.
And this is definitely what a Wrecking Ball does. You mentioned it so well. Just brings that disruption into the back of your composition. So Fenrir, Wild on their respective Mercy Zenyatta, or even Brigby and Robin on their Lucio Zenyatta, really have to find and navigate their way very carefully throughout this map, or else Bully Hunter, MGCL, or even Sushi Lover going to be able to punish extremely well here in this dive-oriented comp. As we see Bully Hunter immediately discorded from that Zenyatta, that's what we're going to be looking out for through the entirety of this.
And already Ecal getting decimated in its opening firefight. Gotta love the aggression coming out here. And man, body's dropping a little bit quickly here for my liking from UC Davis.
Yeah, Juicy Steak needed some healing there for quite a while. She wasn't able to get any. She had to back up, and that's so much damage gone from your composition there. She finds her way onto the high ground, immediately has that damage boost from Weil, but Saguru immediately getting these picks onto Ecal. He's kind of feeding here on the Wrecking Ball, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, you expect your tank to take a little bit of damage, but not this much pain. For all his death, he's only got 23 on the ulti charge. Look on the other side, that is something that I do have a little bit of fear. Already pushing the 84, 85 Sushi Lover, sitting on that Tracer, ready to go with some of these ultimates, and they're already claiming 25% of the points.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
And speaking of early ultimates, Saguru comes out, finds two with the high noon. I'll tell you what, UC Davis not going to be pushing anytime soon after those two picks.
Yeah, and this is the point where you have to decide, all right, obviously a straight up firefight is not going to work. How do we zip around? How do we find a little bit of an opening, right? This is where the trickiness comes into play. You got to stop thinking meatball, push forward. You got to start thinking trick. How do I get around him? How do we find that one kill? Fenrir, that wasn't the way.
Bully Hunter and Suguru both get their own respective frags there. Bully Hunter just living in the backline. Look at the disruption here. Forces out a Transcendence when they're already 2 down. This is not looking good for UC Davis.
62, 63 and climbing. And literally Mercy's on Mercy action here. I think that's what it was. I'm very sorry. But again, this is looking like Fresno State taking the first round.
It's definitely looking clean so far. Fresno pushing 75% there. We do get a Transcendence from Robin. That's got to be some good news here for UC Davis as they want to push in. You see Oompa Loompa on the point as that Sigma just trying to go forward there. The accretion doesn't connect. MGCL gifted the high ground there on the Sigma, but he's discorded by Ecal, or excuse me, not by Ecal, but Ecal working on him as Fenrir pops that discord. Frosty finally able to find some frags onto 2 there. Walk me through the rest.
It's already over as you're finishing, man. Nothing more for me to talk about. They finally claim it at 96. 96, that is a painful way to start to make your comeback. And already contested by Fresno State. Trying to hold it over. This could be round 1 going very quickly. Couple kills coming through left and right. UC Davis fighting for the lives here.
Oh, goodness, but they're not able to touch. I don't want to call it a classic Sig-9. They were down in the fight. They had a very clear positional disadvantage, but someone's got to be there to touch toes on the point. They're not able to, and you say, just like you called it, Fresno takes it right there on downtown, and we're going to be moving into Mecha Base.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, of course, like, I am not the best Overwatch player by any means. That's why I'm casting and not playing, right? But you know, there is a point in the mentality shift where you kind of have to sit there and go, okay, obviously the firefight's not working. They already capped it for about 30 to 40%. You got to switch it up a lot faster than that, I believe. You know, you got to be able to recognize that, hey, your strategy is not working. Stop hitting your head against a brick wall.
Yeah, and I think the idea of that comp was to get Ecal on that Wrecking Ball to force out some resources and really allow Juicy Steak to pop off on her respective Echo. However, they couldn't find the room, but now we have Reinhardt's just walking into each other.
Might as well. A lot of nice corridors to mess around, but again, they go straight at it. They say, listen, we don't care. Let's have a little bit of fun. And this time around, once again, a hard shove straight back. Fresno State, I believe, having a blast.
Yeah, Fresno State walking forward with this rush comp. Man, this McCree absolutely popping off, but look at the shatter as it connects with, what was that, 4, 5?
Oh, just about. Make that 6 as the respawns are coming in quickly. Look at all those red X's. You gotta feel bad as, once again, the cap is going straight for Fresno State.
However, Fresno State a little bit late to cap that point. Honestly, UC Davis probably not too upset at losing that fight for anything other than ult economy. Robin having some trouble making this jump as Baptiste finally makes his way up there. But anyway, you know, Fresno took a while to cap, but here's a respective shatter from the side of UC Davis. Oompa Loompa comes in, only finds 1, but I'll tell you what, he also finds his way off the map with Sushi Lover.
You gotta love getting punted off the map. Just unfortunate sits there as Brigby says, thank you very much, support no more. They clap a few more on the board as they hold point. Rock steady here in round 2.
Ticking up to 35 here. I want to go back to the match chat that we saw in the lobby. It sounds like Brigby might be a bit of a Reddit Lucio, and I think we got to look out for a lot more DPS plays from him.
Oh, yes, but a quick couple tags and a lot of overkill coming out for UC Davis. They're trying to push out, and they do. Frosty dropping those kill boards as quickly as possible, and just like that, a clean 6 means that they are able to cap it this time at a respectable 51%.
And Frosty definitely opening it up there for UC Davis. This looks a lot cleaner on Mecha Base, and now we're going to be able to see how UC Davis plays when they're on the defensive, when they're able to set up how they prefer. How are they able to handle this constant aggression that Fresno's bringing to the table?
Yeah, maybe that round 1, they just lost that minor initiative, and now they're getting it in their groove. I mean, that's what they hope, but they're immediately pressed right back to a little bit of their spawn. A nice low gravity, drawing a few people in, and there are the kills going through. Immediate 2 down on Fresno State. Make that 3 for 1. I think they got it. You called it. Man, UC Davis happy about the way they're setting up.
Yeah, UC Davis finally able to get that set up, and look at Brigby on the side of Fresno, even after the fight is lost, taking the fight directly to Juicy. She's not going to be able to get the kill on him, but Brigby showing that, hey, Lucio's the best DPS in this game, and Orbital, if we cast more often, you'll hear me say it time and time again, a Reddit Lucio is a scary thing to deal with.
You know, see, my Lucio also came from Reddit. However, it was from Reddit like 6 years ago, so we don't talk about it. But here we go. Another battle once again. They're just going head to head. A nice little save on Juicy's take, though, means they keep fighting through. Another 3 quick drops. Oompa Loompa will happily sacrifice his life to push back Fresno State. 4 members dead once again. Oh, UC Davis, they are coming back with a vengeance.
I like the way they're playing this kind of makeshift brawl comp. They're allowing Sushi Lover, or excuse me, not Sushi Lover, Frosty to get in the back line and really poke at them while they kind of back down from this aggressive brawl that Fresno wants to bring to the table. As they do that and health pools start to whittle down, they're able to take it right to the team. But speaking of taking it right to the team, the High Noon comes out, doesn't find anybody, but here's the amplification matrix.
Yeah, and a quick fallback, relenting on this attempt. A little contest coming out. They are able to cap, but they immediately drop once again. Juicy Steak and Frosty laying down that DPS. They reclaim it so quickly. And looking at that point, it's immediately capped right back.
I don't know if anyone's going to be able to touch here. You see Saguru going to the Genji, trying to see if he can touch with a dash here. Wild ends up booping Bully Hunter. He's not able to touch on the Wrecking Ball, and we are all tied up here. Mecha Base looking a lot better for UC Davis than Downtown did. We're 1-1 on Busan as we head to Sanctuary.
Man, and this is why these two teams were given that high priority. They were given that opportunity to move past the preliminaries and say, hey, we deserve to be at the top. We deserve this opportunity. And you see it. Clean fights back and forth. It's a battle of wits at this point. There is no blood where 1 and 1 are left standing. This is straight up. Everyone gets swept or you sweep the opponent. And I love it.
You're absolutely right, and to harp on what you said earlier during Downtown, it really was a quick learning process for the side of UC Davis, right? They immediately got rolled on the Echo and the Wrecking Ball, so what do? They switch it up, they go for a more classic Death Ball style with that McCree and that Reinhardt, and they're able to take Mecha Base. So how they turn it around here on Sanctuary, back on this Wrecking Ball, we'll have to see if it works in their favor.
Yeah, well, ECAL switching this time to the Diva, giving Oompa Loompa the Wrecking Ball, and they're immediately gonna go at it. Quick tanks all the way through. No one's dropped just yet as everyone is still fighting for control at this point. Oh, but off the wall goes Boy Hunter full L2. Gotta feel bad about that one.
Yet he takes a dip into the ocean below. Sushi Lover ends up finding a pick onto Frosty. That's the Tracer down for the side of UC Davis. They might be panicking a little bit here. Oompa Loompa discorded, just vying for that point control against his opposing Sigma from MGCL. How else is this fight breaking out?
It is breaking out, just a bloody mess. You know, rounds 1 and 2 were a little bit closer, a little bit cleaner, and finally we see a break in the action. UC Davis having to relent as they are watching that point be capped. I mean, that was much bloodier than the first 2 rounds combined there as Fresno State finally take the first cap.
They do, and only at 5% here after what seemed like an eternity of that fight just opening up. As we mentioned, Oompa Loompa, MGCL going at it back and forth, but it finally does open up. Fresno here at about 15%. You see UC Davis once again opting for this coastal side. I think they're trying to get some protection to Fenrir on this Zenyatta, where he can play a lot safer indoors, or at least a little bit of indoors that left coastal side provides.
And both the Wrecking Balls going out as Oompa Loompa gets dropped. Juicy takes out Sushi. They're going to keep going at it as much as they hope. A couple more drop on UC Davis as they are trying their best to break into this point, but it's just not working out. Hard-fought defense by Fresno State means they keep control. Fury is going to come right back up to complete the fight.
It was a clean high noon from Juicy, but it's not quite enough as the rest of UC Davis ends up falling here. And let's take a look at the ult economy, Orbital.
Mhm.
I mean, for the side of Fresno, they've got a Gravitic Flux to work with. They've got a Minefield from Bully Hunter, Transcendence, a Valkyrie. And on the side of UC Davis, nothing more than the Mines in the Oven, a Pulse Bomb, and then that Transcendence. A rally's going to have to come in early before this fight starts, you'd have to assume. And there it is on the right side, or excuse me, the left side of the point as they want to push in.
Yeah, and the swap out to Bridget, hoping that this is the one that makes it all work, and they do. They have fully grabbed that point, but now they got to defend as best they can. Frosty can't take the heat and gets out of there. Those Tate still trying to combat, but they are pushed right back. Losing health quickly, trying to heal it right back up. Sushi Lover finally gets a quick pick on the side, and there the health rush drops. And UC Davis cannot contest with this bully.
They certainly can. I mean, Fresno absolutely popping off. What I wanted to see from UC Davis there was a bit of a dry fight. I wanted to see them push the point and immediately force out ultimates from Fresno so they could come in around 85, 90% and then really take it to them with the ultimates. They had to force them out first, but instead they commit their own, and now they're coming in here with nothing for this last fight.
Last ditch attempt. You got to make it happen fast. 5% left to try and get in. And I don't think it's going to happen. You got to get someone on the point. Contested at the last second. They might be able to pull this off. Oh, it's a Hail Mary attempt. But they don't seem to hold it. That's going to be 4-5. Make that Frosty last person standing. Yes, they do hold the overtime, but they got to stay alive to do that. And it's not going to happen. Overtime ticking down just a little bit longer. And that will be it. Fresno State taking map number 1.
Fresno takes Busan, and usually we can say it happened in a dominating fashion. However, it was close for the first two, but just looked a little bit different there on Sanctuary. And as we watch this play of the game from Frosty, I'm assuming we're going to see him in the back line. We absolutely do. Finds two with the Pulse Bomb, probably more if that Immortality Field didn't come out there. That was clutch, but ends up fragging out. And I think that kind of ties into what we need to discuss here as far as the picks are concerned. That's why Wrecking Ball, that's why Tracer find themselves so high on that tier list as far as a meta is concerned, right? You know, as the fight's breaking out on the point, Bully Hunter's in your backline taking out a Brigida, taking out a Zenyatta, you know, going above and beyond to get those supports out of the fight before they even have a chance to survive it and provide that healing that's so essential to that point brawl. And I feel like if we don't see an answer to that from UC Davis, then this is going to be a quick 3-0.
Yeah, and and with how quick a lot of these maps will rotate, that was what only a few minutes of time, and you have to sit there and do a quick mental reset as well. First round of that map, Fresno State came out kicking, strong, just frontal assault, taking the point, and then not allowing any pushback. UC Davis coming back in round 2, but round 3 got shut down once again. 3 attempts they made to get on that point, and 3 attempts they got shut down in their face. Now we are rotating to a hybrid with the assault escort. So a little bit of variation here. You have a little bit more time to work with and a little bit more jostling for the defensive and offensive moves.
For sure. And with UC Davis dropping Busan, they do get the opportunity to pick what side of the map they're defending, or excuse me, if they're defending or attacking. UC Davis is going to opt to defend here. We all know how crucial that is on a hybrid type map. Anything that's payload related, anything like that, you definitely want to have that defensive advantage. Starting on defense, you know exactly what you have to work with. Potentially, they can make it a 6 or 7 minute game if they can get a full hold on that hybrid portion. That is a 2 CP type deal, and then go forward and attack and get that first tick, maybe 2 ticks, and really hold out, make Blizzard World a quick game so they can come in here and make this series 1-1.
Yeah, just try and mental reset. And again, always thinking I love the mental game. As you can probably tell, I love thinking about and trying to dive into the minds a little bit. But coming out here, explain to me a little bit of what we might see with some of the heroes coming out. We saw Wrecking Ball obviously taking over and a couple of the Brigettas, and I think Reinhardt took over one of those main points. But right now, I mean, I'm tempted to see the Winston, coming out. I want to see that the giant gorilla coming out, having a little bit of fun here on some of the payloads.
I think Winston's definitely in a good spot right now. However, I think Bully Hunter and Sushi Lover have definitely asserted their dominance as this Tracer Wrecking Ball duo that you see, as I'm sure we're all familiar, plague your comp games recently. So with that Wrecking Ball that goes inside of the backline, once again, like we've mentioned so often, forces out resources from the opposing team. That's when you can get someone like an Echo, or in this case a Tracer, who can come in for Fresno and clean up now that those resources aren't gone. Whether it's a shield bash from Brigida, whether it's a flashbang from McCree, a sleep from an Ana, once these resources are dedicated to such a big target who has such an easy time escaping, that's when your DPS can really wreak havoc in that backline that is so critical to keep safe. So I think we see some more of that from them. From the side of UC Davis, I want to see them continue to try and make that echo work from Juicy Steak. They've got to pair it with a Zenyatta and a Mercy, I think, and then allow the rest of the team to be self-sufficient. So whether that's a Wrecking Ball of your own, whether it's a Roadhog or a Diva who can either self-sustain or get out when necessary, they're gonna have to figure something out, because right now it's just not working with what they've done unless it's been that brawl, kind of classic Overwatch style that we saw them do on Mecha Base.
Yeah, these basic fights might not be what you want to do. Again, I like the swap up that they were able to pull. They were able to throw a little bit of a curveball, and momentum is all in that game. So like you said, DPS working together, making sure that they keep in the same mental state. 10 seconds left. We'll get to see what heroes will be making appearance here at the Pylon Terrace. Giant crystals galore. Welcome to Blizzard World.
Definitely. And in this hybrid portion, I'm excited to see what UC Davis, once again, just to remind everyone, on blue this time, defending first year on Blizzard World, what they opt for. And it looks like you've got your wish as we see Ecal on the Winston.
Hey, he heard me. He said, all right, this caster is feeling a little bit fun. Let's give him what he wants to see. Paired up. And again, the standard Juicy Steak and Frosty, loving this McCree and Tracer combination. I think it's worked very well for them thus far.
Definitely. And back on the side of UC Davis, look at all the resources that they now have to deal with this Wrecking Ball. So now if Bully Hunter comes in, he's got a sleep, a flashbang, and a shield bash, just like we talked about earlier, that he's going to have to deal with. If they can chain CC him throughout his rollout, he'll get one-shotted just like any other hero would. Just going to take a lot of resources committed to him in order to do that. They see the Brigida now from Wild. Hopefully Fresno's prepared for that with these rollouts that Bully Hunter's going to try and do. We'll just have to see as they come to attack.
Well, of course, we see that flying duo, the Echo and the Mercy, deciding to try and rain down Hailfire from the top. And oh, that is already looking pretty bit dirty. UC Davis taking a lot of pain, having to heal that right back up. And the first frag come through on Ecal and Fenrir as Fresno State decide they need this over quick done.
But yeah, Fresno ends up finding two there. MGCL pops off even while he's antied, and they're going to take first point here in a dominating fashion. I'm assuming some staggers are going to try and come out, but excuse me, Oompa Loompa immediately gets a pick onto Bully Hunter. They may have some ability to contest here as Ecal's going to roll out on the Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, trying to contest that last point, but he is alone. The healers are not available, so right back out. Frosty and Wild getting dropped off that point, so that will be the payload enabled. First half done. Let's see how far they can push.
Quick duplicate comes out from Saguru here. He's immediately going to pop forward and get have that duplicate taken away. He's back in Echo form now. Does get Juicy with the focusing beam. She falls quickly there as that damage is absolutely decimating Oompa Loompa in a heck of a lot of trouble as he's forced to get out. And once again, it's like you're watching Florida Atlantic all over again. Here is Fresno at UC Davis's spawn doors.
And that, I have no words. A literal 5-on-6 right now, and they are not allowed to leave. Zenyatta was the one just sitting on that payload, and finally they are allowed out, but still relegated to that entrance.
They absolutely are, and they find just a little bit of space now as they're able to push forward here, but this is doing nothing more than giving Fresno some payload space as they continue to get these frags. What does UC Davis have to do here? Is it a full regroup in their spawn? How do they answer this constant oppression?
At this point, they need to find those picks running around. GC Steak and Frosty are hoping to make it work, and they're just getting ran. I mean, as much as I want to try and give them a little bit of opportunity, Fresno State just showing off here, finding the frags that they need. I mean, this is, I don't even, that's at all.
Yeah, it's definitely looking rough for the side of UC Davis. Fresno with 5.5 minutes on the clock, moving into the final phase here. You see Robin just leisurely relaxing here, just taking a break on this payload as it slowly winds down. But here comes the grab from the side of UC Davis. Maybe finally an attempt to regain some traction here and get this space back that's been taken from them for the whole game.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for. They need that little bit of reprieve. Tags coming out of Seguru. Sorry, excuse me on that name. Echo decides that wants to dance in front, and there goes Wrecking Ball once again. Dancing it forward, both of them body slam, and Bully Hunter becomes the bully that he is barely being kept alive.
It's a clean ante from the side of Fenrir, but it's not enough to get Bully Hunter as the Transcendence comes out to save him finally. But here come the frags for Ecal as he finds one with a minefield. Frosty cleaning up as well, and it looks like finally, now that we're done caster cursing them, they finally got some traction. They're able to step on the payload there, and speaking of stepping on things, MGCL finds their way onto the minefield just to end it there. And finally, they've been able to stop the payload, and you've got to think Fresno's happy with the time they have. 4 minutes left, and they're practically halfway through third phase. UC Davis just happy to have some breathing room on their side.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful play right at that choke point. That is one of the hardest points to push through. I think as the attackers, right, it's so easy to collapse in with some of the ultimates, with some of the abilities. And now they have to try once again a quick leap in from the hallway. They're immediately going to go to war here. And another very, very nice Graviton is going to secure a couple and force UC Davis to rethink their strategy. Force back ever so slightly. A little bit of a route by the Tracer immediately gets taken out as that attempt is stuck. Fortunately, this time, UC Davis cannot hold Fresno State find at least 4.
Yeah, UC Davis tried with that grab there, but a good immortality field from Robin. And look at how clean they do this. While they continue to hold these spawn doors, they continue to have someone on payload that's constantly pushing this, so that presence is always there on the payload and gives UC Davis a lot to deal with. Speaking of a lot to deal with, Seguru pops the high noon, gets an immortality field just to protect him. Umbaluba has a million charge and a nano, however, he falls immediately. Juicy Steak, she finds 2 with her high noon, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough, as Ecal and Juicy Steak are begging anyone to help them on this payload.
Yeah, at this point, they're just trying to stall for time. They know they can't stop it, but the more minutes they burn, the better. Seconds are everything. Diva rushing out to try and knock it off, and immediately gets pinned against the wall, and it looks like they've done it. They successfully pushed off Bully Hunter, who switched to the Reinhardt, and it seems to have been their undoing. Oh, last hour available, and they're able to save it. Very slow rollback, but rollback nonetheless.
And I mean, look at where they're at with still 2.5 minutes on the clock. Ecal has the minefields ready. Frosty has a pulse bomb. They're going to have to make a crazy play here to continue to take time off the clock from Fresno.
I think that was crazy enough. I mean, it was going to be ending with 4 minutes left on the clock. So, I mean, they already burned 2. I think they're going to be a little bit happy about that. But yes, they are trying a little bit more, but that is going to be the ultimate being tossed around like candy. I knew still available. It is being dropped here. That is going to be almost a clean ace. Suku deciding it is over. And that is going to be round 1 complete for Fresno State.
It absolutely is, and you're correct in saying that, you know, Fresno had a lot of time. UC Davis was finally able to get their bearings, once again gain some traction on that third point and burn a lot of that clock down, because, man, 5.5 minutes moving into point 3, that's got to be a daunting number to look at if you're UC Davis. However, they made it work, cleaned it up well enough to take advantage, or excuse me, not have it taken advantage of against them for this, you know, time bank that was working against them so long. So they've got a 145 to work with. They're going to have to try to beat that on attack. How they do it, I'm not too sure, as they've come out with so many different comps throughout this. Ecal maybe back on the Wrecking Ball. Juicy Steak either on, yep, so there's the McCree. Either that or an Echo. She's got to pick one or the other, I think, to continue to make this work. Frosty's pulled out a good Tracer, but now we see a Genji from the side of Fresno.
Oh, and a Genji, and that... also, you were talking about Frosty on that Tracer, but immediately swapping over once again, bringing out a little bit different DPS to try and shake things up once again, because this time on the attack you have that ability to kind of Man, they're just toying with me now. They're messing with me, you know. It's been so long since I've seen some of these heroes. But again, like I was saying, they had the opportunity to set the pace, right? Fresno State like to play fast and furious, maybe slow down to the tempo, right? Force Fresno into unfortunate scenarios.
And that's what I'm excited to see here. You see it from UC Davis, you see it from Fresno. This is the battle of the metas here. Two metas collide. You've got a rush down brawl comp from the side of UC Davis. You've got more standard meta with a Genji thrown in on the side of Fresno. We'll have to see how they can make it work as this death ball moves up to the top right portion of the map.
That was a lot of ground actually forfeited by Fresno State. A huge loop around that's easily spotted out, and they might be on the wrong side as they are immediately bumped off their entire competition. It's shattered into pieces. Now they're fighting a little bit disjointed, and that is unfortunate. Oh, Brigby bringing out the pain. A nice knockback on the juicy steak. Immediately, the DPS is dropped, and UC Davis are floundering. Oh, they went for the cheese and immediately get bopped for it.
I can respect the play. I think they made the right call. They move over to the right side with that rush down comp. They know they have to take high ground because they're assuming there's a McCree up there. I don't think they had seen the Genji quite yet. So they want to go in there, opt to take the high ground, take it away from the Ana, take it away from the Lucio and the Diva. However, when you have Bully Hunter on Wrecking Ball on the opposing team, you gotta assume that Disrupt is coming in. He boops them away. Brigby goes for the alley-oop and boops the opposing player off the map and spelled nothing but trouble as we jump into this next fight.
Oh, and now we get to see all of this chaos ensue as UC Davis once again attempt, but my gosh, Brigby is popping off. This man cannot be stopped. He is healing, shielding, and dipping all over the place. Oh man, health bars are gone. Heroes are depleted as the second attempt fails once again.
It does, and with this rushdown comp, you've got to stay together as a death ball. We saw a little bit of them splitting off to the right side, and then I believe it was Juicy. She was on the left side with another player. I can't remember who, but with that death ball comp, you've got to be a unit, right? You've got to constantly be together in that six stack. As you see them on the right side now, however, here comes the Nano Blade.
Oh, they're going to attempt a nice little forward as Suguru decides that it is time to break out a couple kills. And man, time and time again, the DPS, this Genji and Tracer combination in combo with MGCL and Bully Hunter running up the front line has just completely denied UC Davis.
They have, and the most unfortunate thing about all of it is how dominating was that fight to watch for the side of Fresno, and how many ults do they still have to work with. They've still got a beat drop, they've still got a pulse bomb, the minefield, a self-destruct. They've got everything in the oven here to deal with this push, and here it all comes now.
There we go, ultimates have been popped, over shielding by that Lucio, hoping to hold off. Sushi Lover is down though, you can hear the ticks coming out as Bully Hunter and MCL might fall. Yes, they do. Fenrir picks that one up. Picks up a 2K, looking for a few more, and finally, a breath of life. UC Davis finds 2 capture points available. It is still being contested. Brigby trying to run interference for the time being, but it looks like it has been given. Robin snapping up Oomba Loomba. Frosty is able to grab 2 more on the back end. Highly contested here at the third segment of this take. They need just a little bit more time. 3 on 1 contesting, and UC Davis almost have it. They're trying their best, but no, they lose out on the members. Tracer running for her life as Brigby decides to eliminate her.
I love the play there from Fresno. Nothing more than a deceiving 2 ticks given to UC Davis there, as Fresno was just trying to buy time for the retake, and they come away with it clean as another Nano Blade comes. 3 seconds left. I'm not sure anyone's going to have time to touch.
They gotta try. Someone's on there for a little bit, but I think this overtime is only a formality. Nope, 1 more gets on there. Brigby's dropping a few more members as Juicy is taken out. 5 down as Oomba Loomba is the only one remains, and unfortunately I think his move speed is a little bit too slow.
Definitely, it kind of clean there. Fresno State takes it on Blizzard World, and that was, I think we can officially say, Orbital, that one was in a dominating fashion.
I mean, any more dominating and they would have been, they wouldn't have even played the game. The game would have just been handed to Fresno State. A complete swamp from start to finish. UC Davis stuff time and time again. didn't even capture the initial starting point and not allowed to keep going. You saw there a very beautiful Genji swap coming out, but just not enough.
I mean, at this point, UC Davis has got to be kicking themselves. They need to go, and like you mentioned, with the mental game that is Overwatch, it's just as much mental as it is mechanical. You've got to be trying to find something here to rally the troops and really say, hey, we're down 2-0 right now. They've officially taken the series. However, we'll play for some map differential. How do they come out here and win on Dorado in a game that has not seemed like it's been in their favor so far in this series?
At this point, you're going to a straight escort, right? So, hey, bring out some of those low tier picks that you might be sneaking away in that solo queue or in those, competitive play moments, right? This is the point. You are playing literally just for a map. You're playing just to make sure you're on there. So, why not give yourself that advantage, that comfort level? Don't always play towards the meta. We saw it a little bit in there, right? UC Davis tried to cheek away with a couple of that sneaky round swap and almost made it work. It was just a little bit discoordinated, right? So this time, go for it. Whatever crazy scheme you're trying to do, this is the time to break it out. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain if you're on UC Davis's squad.
I mean, so are you saying we maybe get some Bastion here on defense from UC Davis? Do we get a Bastion, maybe throw a Torb with it, double shield it up, and just hope for the best?
You're calling heydays. You're calling all the way back like season one, almost back to like pre-beta. I want to say,
Hey,
God, you're
Bastion
dragging
had
the
a
memory.
shield. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, honestly, I would love it. On an escort mission, I think it's probably one of the silliest things. I remember the days of, I think, double Reinhardt or double Winston Shield sitting on top and just not allowed to get inside that payload. So I mean, anything goes, right? But you got to find something to shake them up. Obviously, Fresno State have a very strong read on the meta, and they are able to play it to an extremely exceptional level. There's a reason they were also let through, right? They were allowed to go straight into this bracket play. So bring something out, cheese them. This is the time to poke and see if they have any chinks in the armor, right? That's the best way I can put it. You already know
Definitely.
that they are a very strong knight. Now, find that weakness so you may be able to exploit it later on.
And that's what it seems like is difficult with Fresno State here is that weakness seems hard to find. I mean, every single one of these players playing their heroes to maximum output, whether it be
Hmm.
Bully Hunter on that Wrecking Ball, Brigby on the Reddit Lucio. You've got some Nano Blades coming out from Saguru, probably still not pronouncing that right, but who cares about pronouncing his name when he's absolutely popping off?
He just
Everyone
doesn't.
knows who he is at this point, right?
Yeah. Listen, no one needs to pronounce your name. It's just like, hey, I know that one. That one kicked my butt
The
a little
scary
bit
one.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the one you don't want to meet, right? That's just the guy
Exactly.
like you see, listen, I can't pronounce his name, but I know he wrecks my entire team whenever I meet him on the other side. So let's avoid him at all costs. But of course, in this kind of matchup, you can't avoid everyone. As we are now on Dorado, going back to the old school of old school, and I think that's only fitting, right? We were talking about going back to the old seasons. And one way to do it, one of the original maps out there.
Definitely, and Dorado is definitely a classic. You got to take advantage of that high ground, and I've got to assume UC Davis, who, by the way, still on blue team here, lost the previous map. They got to choose, opted for defense. So we're gonna see, and you know what? Maybe you called it, Orbital. I mean, look at this. We've got a frosty Junkrat on our hands. I haven't seen that, at least in meta, in a couple seasons.
Oh man, Junkrat and God, my brain is not working right now. Junkrat though was probably one of my favorite. Just watching some of the crazy places. I think back in the old seasons, there were some really bad exploits that you could send his ulti through. It's like you come out and just a wheel in your face when you're like 10 miles away, and you're like, that shouldn't happen. But
Well,
walls are down, so we'll see what they can do.
we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see anything like that as Frosty Caster Kirstus comes out on the Tracer instead of the Junkrat. I guess we gotta
No.
stop talking about these teams in the pregame lobby, huh? We gotta stop talking about them when they're still selecting those heroes. But look at the dive from the side of Fresno. A Winston, a Wrecking Ball, Tracer, Genji, they're all over the place, right? And they're already disrupting this team who wanted to stay together.
Yeah. Just absolutely bully the unfortunate scenario as the push has already started. And if this goes any way like map number 2, we're gonna see a very quick payload at each checkpoint.
And for this next fight, after they may have it, UC Davis may have a contest here. I think they're going to opt for one. But as we move into the next point for Streets phase, watch how they continuously keep this Ana on the point and protect her while they push, and they're still disrupting the backline as Sushi Lover comes in and finds a pick.
Yeah, dropped one of the unfortunate stands that has been left out in the heat of battle. A little bit of discussion. Juicy take Fenrir immediately gets dropped. Come back on the battlefield as quickly as they can. Sushi Lover getting wild on wild. Hoping to keep on that point. Once again, contested 1.51 meters away from the checkpoint. Fortunately, it will be capped to point one going the way of Fresno State.
Juicy Steak trying to contest there right at the end, unable to do so, probably just throwing her body at the point, trying to get a quick respawn. However, will be subjected to a long respawn as we come out for Streets phase. And so this is what I was talking about. Watch the way they keep either the Ana or at this point a Genji on point, and the way that Fresno begins to take space immediately, right? Look at Winston staging on this high ground. You've got players on the far right-hand side looking to disrupt. Bully Hunters coming in immediately, all the while this payload's moving.
Yeah, that's all they care about, right? You just keep the enemy opponents off, keep it moving, and that high ground battle isn't doing anything to stop the payload. There we go, they finally get the drop on, but Wild and Fenrir dropped extremely low. Again, you need your healers alive, and down goes Wild. They are on the point though, 3 members to keep themselves alive, and an immediate drop as Riru decides it's time to bring out the blades as quickly as possible. Able to cap it off once again.
We're just gonna keep butchering this name, huh? I'm going with Saguru, you're going with Sagurura, or whatever you said. And
you can't call me out like that, man.
there's no hope for him, so maybe it's just Genji. No, I'll tell you what, we gotta commit. I'm gonna call him Sugar. Alright, Sugar. That's gotta be close, right?
Let's do that and then watch the chats for a little bit as that payload crossing over that halfway point, trying to make it under the bridge, and they are just finally pushing through, and it looks like they've given up. They actually just say, hey, we want to mess around with the enemy opponent. Let's just dance it. We don't care too much. A little bit of roundabout, though, as you stated before, the healers getting on their Robin and Brigby, playing the escort mission first.
Yeah, we've got Sugar on the Genji there. Ekal finally coming in to contest. Frosty, who's been doing extremely well on this Tracer despite what's been happening to her team across the board. She dives in with Oompa Loompa there, does find the pick onto Robin. Frosty trying to wreak havoc in this backline, but here's Saguru trying to take it to Juicy Steak as she's now on the Echo.
Yep, getting fairly low, but a nice little heal coming out from and Ana, keeping the teammates alive. Both Smiths are coming up. Rigby and Sushi Layer both have it. MGCL has his as well. It's going to be an attempt at a stop, and possibly the ultimate's being dropped as Wrecking Ball just drops right in the middle of them. Bully Hunter having a blast.
I mean, look at how crazy this fight is. It looks like I'm watching Team Deathmatch in Call of Duty. Players are everywhere. They're all over the map, and this is just what this meta is, you know? Find as many 1v1s as you can take without using too many of your team's resources. And speaking of resources, MGCL pops the Primal Rage, drops to about 200 health there. Kind of stuck in the backline as Wild finally falls to Brigby there. Ekal does get the frag onto MGCL on that Winston, but here comes the duplicate onto the Tracer from Juicy.
Yeah, and remember though, UC Davis, their main goal is not to get the kills, their main goal is to just shove people off, and they finally got it. A little bit of quiet. They finally cleared off that payload.
I mean, that was a, what, minute and 15-second fight? People are all over the place. This is, it's non-stop hooks, uppercuts. I mean, they're just going at it here. Juicy Steak, she scouts out, does see the entire team there on the left side. She's got to get safe, though. The recall does come out from Sushi Lover, about 85% of that pulse bomb. Probably going to try and find a support there, but here comes the Nano Blade.
Oh, it is, and he's slicing through, going all the way into the backline as well, looking for some healers, some squishy targets as much as he can, but I don't think he's going to find any more. They clear it out, they're able to get 3 more onto the payload, they're trying to move it forward, it did drop back a little bit. Time is running short ever so slightly, as it looks like UC Davis are not going to be able to hold off this push any longer.
However, Frosty does a good job of contesting payload from Fresno State. They're allowing UC Davis and the remainder of their team time to get back. Fenrir finds a boop onto MGCL with the whip shot. Ekal finds Robin with that minefield. Mine's on payload. No one is touching at this point in time. Frosty back there to defend it, and it looks like Bully Hunter and crew are going to try and get out of there as fast as possible.
Man, And this choke point is doing wonders for UC Davis. They needed that hold so bad, and they have found it twice now. They have stopped it down to about 35 seconds. And Fresno, if they want that second point cap, they need to make that play very, very quickly. They only have time for one more hard push.
Right territory here, you're absolutely right. Look at the ults here for UC Davis. They definitely have potential to contest. Frosty just needs to find a pulse bomb combined with a rally to keep her team up for the remainder of this. Hopefully what they'll be able to do with Fenrir on the Brigida is pop the rally early, but it's not enough to save Frosty. He falls with pulse bomb.
He does, and that's a huge ultimate that they might have wanted to use. Pushing forward on the payload, coming down to that overtime.
Oh, the sleep!
UC Davis can get it. Oh, the sleep. It makes it work. MGCL going straight to the back line. 1.55 meters. All they need is to keep it on. They're fighting with their lives as UC Davis, the health bars are expiring. And it looks like Fresno, after a minute and a half of battling, cap the second checkpoint.
Move into point 3 here and immediately start taking it to them, trying to find some staggers. They're definitely going to find Wild here nice and slowly just to get that long spawn if they can. However, let's talk about that sleep on a Zaguru right there. I thought that was going to turn it around for UC Davis. A beautiful sleep onto the nano-bladed Genji from Wild, but still, Fresno's able to turn it around here as we move into point 3.
Yeah, and actually, Suguru has actually decided, yeah, he doesn't want to get slept anymore. Decides to actually swap it up to the McCree. Said no more up close and personal. They already moved the payload directly into about halfway to third checkpoint. So it's going to be a little disruption in the backline. Winston and Wrecking Ball getting shoved right back out, though. ECAL deciding MGCL doesn't get to play anymore.
So I actually did not watch any Overwatch right there, went back to our cheat sheet and looked at how to pronounce it. It is in fact Suguru. So we're right. So we're just geniuses, obviously. Incapable of reading a cheat sheet, but still geniuses as we move forward here. Suguru finds a pick with the high nude onto ECAL there. That's going to be enough for Fresno State to continue moving forward as the duplicated Wrecking Ball from Juicy State comes out. She's going to want to find a minefield early here as the Pulse Bomb comes out as well, but doesn't find anyone, but does enough damage to Oompa Loompa to kill him.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a choke point coming down to the last few seconds. This is just a little bit of extra on top. Fresno State saying, hey, you can hold all you want, but it looks like we're going to get this first round win. Unfortunate Echo gets dropped there. A little bit of dancing on the top, just a little bit of a push. And that is going to be it. In overtime, though. 3 overtimes, I believe.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, right? I mean, like, UC Davis has to be happy with that. Blizzard Rule was demoralizing, right? But you come in, you have a clean defense, and you hold them to overtime on point 3. They're able to cap, but with 0 time left on the clock, that's obviously so much better than how Blizzard Rule went down. They've got to be at least a little bit higher in spirits than they were coming out of the last map.
I don't think just a little higher. I think they're going to the moon now because they made the Knights bleed. They made this giant bleed that shut them down in map 2. And they finally are seeing maybe it's a map difference, right? You know, some teams do have that that tendency, and I think everyone does, you know, to have a favorite map. Maybe Dorado is not the one that they feel comfortable on. Or, you know, and we'll see here in the defensive side for Fresno State, if that was the case, right? Maybe they got a little overconfident. Maybe they were messing around a little bit too much, but this might be the chance UC Davis need to be able to put themselves on the board even if they already lost the series.
Yeah, and just to go off of that and mention it, the way it works here at the NECC, it is a best of 3. However, all 3 are played. So Fresno State has already won this series up 2-0. However, we play for map differential to help determine where teams should be when playoffs roll around. So UC Davis still attempting to get this 1 map win as anything matters. Anything counts, excuse me. As we move into playoffs and later in the season, definitely want to get this map differential and at least a +1 on the books for them here as they move into attacking on Dorado. And hopefully it goes a little bit better than Fresno State did as they want to take this in dominating fashion. Immediately coming out with ECAL, trying to find a boop off of the high ground. Doesn't quite find anybody though, and he's got a Discord orb on him to deal with.
Oh, and Fresno State give a little bit to take a little bit more, a little bit of Wrecking Ball into the back line, and ECAL does the same, trying to force him back. Fresno State, I'm starting to realize, have the tendency to give a little bit early to maybe mess with the heads a little bit, but stopping it right at the front lines.
Yeah, the defense looking Defense definitely looking clean so far, and look at these staggers. I mean, this is rough for anyone when a time bake is being considered. At this point, UC Davis has to have to really hold on before they can push as these spawners come out. And you see here, Oompa maybe wanting to move forward and try and get behind them. However, he's immediately spotted out by Sushi Lover. That's immediately being called out. Brigida from Wild is coming up to follow this Sigma. They need to get someone on payload while this is happening, though.
They need to try the best they can, but instead they give it up and just say, let's have a firefight right now. We need that push. And finally, UC decides to go back and start moving that payload ever so slightly. And it looks like they've done it. Juicy grabs 2 on the back end while pushing the payload and stopped right under the bridge. But the deaths are through Seguru. Now respawning with that ultimate on Soldier 76. Robin as well coming back up. It's like UC Davis have found their mark.
Yeah, Ecal and Oompa both able to pop off. He gets that accretion kill, and Juicy Steak, she's able to find those sticky bombs, able to get that focusing beam and really clean up that fight as they're finally able to execute the entire idea of this comp. Allow Ecal to go in, get Oompa on some sort of flank where those biospheres can really rain in damage, and then allow Juicy Steak to pop off. But here comes the windowed visor.
Bully Hunter just getting destroyed right there. Ran in to try and disrupt him a little bit, and I think that has completely thrown them all into whack. Fresno State fall into shambles, and a rough attempt at a stop ends up giving the point over to UC Davis.
Juicy Steak absolutely flexes on Seguru right there. He comes in with a windowed visor. Juicy Steak goes up to the top of the archway. She says, guess what? I'll steal your soldier, hit you with a Helix rocket, and clean up 2 other members of your team. Get off my hit scan. Absolutely killing it there, and opens up the door for UC Davis to push into Street's face.
Gotta love these beautiful tag team plays, and again, it always seems that Fresno State have the aggressive push, but UC Davis coming back after a slow start. This might be the map to show off a little bit of their skill as the firefight breaks out right outside of the main buildings. A little bit congested though. Fresno State take to the high ground, trying to drop a few more members. Sushi Lover and Seguru deciding that it is their time to show off.
Oompa caught a little bit out of position there. That's going to mean that the rest of UC Davis have to back up here. Unfortunately, Oompa looked to push Carp, but didn't quite have the rest of the team with him. Once again, they're just going to buy time as he finally rolls back up to point here. Going to contest payload, and up goes Juicy Steak, but taken out by Seguru. He finally takes it back to her and says, listen, I'm just as capable of a DPS as you are.
Exactly the same DPS as Bully Hunter gets slapped right in the middle of the battle. MCCL getting his health dropped. Seguru taking out Oompa. This is a battle of just bloody messes as a hard push with ultimate, and Yano coming out of nowhere decides that the fight is over and forces everyone on UC Davis out. A well-fought defense in a tight corridor. Nets Fresno State a nice set of kills.
Oompa continuing to confuse me here. Drops the Gravitic Flux. Never mind, he finds 2. Hits a nutty accretion onto Brigby there. However, cleaned up by the side of Fresno. That's why I was a little confused by it. He did get a couple picks, but the spawn's not too far away for the side of Fresno, and UC Davis don't have a dog in the fight right now as they're all coming back from spawn. Time dwindling down here, 2 minutes left. It's definitely ample time to push your own streets, but the defense right now from Fresno is pretty clean.
Now remember, this is about the same point that Fresno State had some issues curving around this choke point. UC Davis having some issues a little bit earlier on, but it's about the same type of timeline. Here comes the entire fight. Bully Hunter again caught out. Ecal getting dropped low, gets the steal out from Ana. That's going to be Juicy Steak finding the first kill in this firefight. Robin finding the second. They're just dropping left and right as the DPS go at it. Huge charge up to keep the contest on the payload. And it is stopped dead center in the middle of this road. Neither team is wanting to give up an inch. Has a very nice Graviton. Grabs only 1. They're trying their best to keep themselves in the game as the push finally comes to inching slightly forward.
Finally able to get some ground here. UC Davis. Wild ends up getting the whip shot onto Seguru. That's a critical DPS down. Juicy Steak, she has to deal with the Discord Orb on her. However, still able to find some damage onto Brigby. 60 seconds on the clock. Frosty just absolutely cleaning up this support line for the side of Fresno as they're desperately trying to get out. The payload is moving in UC Davis's favor right now. They're going to push in. I want to see 3 on right now. They're showing me just that, but here comes Bully Hunter with a contest.
They need a contest here. 40 seconds left as immediately Juicy and Oomba get destroyed. Wild as well as a massive kill come all the way through. Destruction raining down as Fresno State are victorious in that hold.
They are, and the defense is clean for the side of Fresno. 18 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be a desperation attempt touch for the side of UC Davis. They're not going to have as much time to set up as they want to, and look at all the different angles Fresno State's holding with this high ground. None of them even looking to touch the payload for right now as the minefield comes out early from Bully Hunter just to stop anyone from having a free time on the payload.
Oh, overtime, ever so slightly able to get Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball, the hero, keeping the dream alive, and everyone's off. It's pushing. Is he gonna get it? He's still on there. The one-man dream. In comes Winston. He doesn't want this game to end. They're holding it as long as they can. A literal less than a meter. They're trying their best. UC don't want this map to end. Oh, they're dying left and right. Trying their best. Fresno State desperately trying to push them off. They don't want this to go for another segment. They need this to be done and won here. Frosty finally finding some more, but
they have the picks.
Goes down. They found the picks. They found the defense. The healers are straight up on UC Davis. What in the world is this last ditch attempt? They have thrown caution to the wind. It says give it everything you got, and they are rewarded with another minute and a half. UC Davis out of freaking nowhere.
What a crazy contest that was from both sides, just clinging onto the payload, digging their nails in there, refusing to get off, both for their own objectives, one to stall and try and cap, the other one just desperately trying to get the attacking team off of there, but finally goes in the way of UC Davis as they're able to cap there. It wasn't clean, but here they are on 3rd point. They've got a minute to work with.
And they have the ultis as well. You can see a Bully Hunter working with one, UC Davis trying their best with the Winston, so keep eyes on that tracker as this is the last attempt. Again, 40 to 50 seconds left. Minefield does go out. Wrecking Ball decides he wants out on that red team influx there. Pinch a little bit on the back end as Bully Hunter. That is going to be Wrecking Ball and Wrecking Ball action. Guru drops Wild, just gets taken out by ECAL once again. It's going to be a huge ult coming out of Robin to try and delay this battle. That's a little bit of pain coming out as a hard stop comes out by Fresno State.
Oompa Loompa commits the Primal Rage into a fight that looked like it was going to go in their favor until 2 fell to the Bully Hunter minefield that he put so magnificently in the middle of that corridor. They have nowhere to go but right into it if they want to make their way out. Speaking of right into it, here comes the rally and they want to brawl with it as immediately the picks come out for the DPS on the side of UC Davis. Juicy Steak finds 2 with the focusing beam.
Oh my gosh, and they got on it in time. Again, UC Davis are the gods right now of overtime. They find a couple kills that they need. Again, Bully Hunter just gets drawn out. He was literally just cut down. Mercy with that ultimate is dead, so unfortunately no revives coming through here. They're gonna have to run all the way through. The payload is pushing up. They might be able to cap this. This might be overtime versus overtime. Less than 5 meters left. That's gonna be the Gravitic.
Oh no.
Everyone off. No, that was a beautiful ultimate from MGCL. That might have been the one, but the test is still there. 5 members strong on top of this payload from Fresno State. They don't want to go to an overtime round. They don't need any extra rounds. And UC Davis are battling Wrecking Ball. It's all up to ECAL once again to hold for the time being, but his health bar says no.
ECAL desperately spinning, trying to get it. He gets the minefield off. He's still touching. The Winston's back. Oompa Loompa is here. 60 to a Primal Rage. He's got to try and build it fast. He's got to touch. Oh, no. Oh, he got booped off, and Fresno takes Dorado. Man, what a game, though. What a crazy, crazy way to end the night here for the NECC Overwatch. Wow. Oh, this is the soldier play I was talking about.
This is beautiful right here. I was surprised to even see a Soldier 76 and grabbing that duplicate and just sniping everyone down from the back line, just saying, listen, I can do it too, probably even better. But a very nice 3-0 Fresno State. Again, last game, very, very shaky, of course. Double overtimes for both attacking squads. But nonetheless, a very clean 3-0.
It was a clean 3-0. Dorado scary for both teams, right? I think both had a dog in the fight the entire time. Neither one of them giving up a ton of room for free. That street phase second point, like you and I both mentioned, went on forever.
Mhm.
Finally, in overtime, both teams able to clean it up. Not the cleanest from Dorado. I feel like they both need to go back, study some VODs, get some scrims in on that map. However, Fresno barely by the hair of their teeth. Is that the skin of their teeth? Hair? There's no hair on teeth. By the skin of their teeth, able to come out with Dorado there. They take the not so clean 3-0, but a 3-0 nonetheless. It looks good for the series, looks good
Mhm.
for the map differential. And speaking of looking good, I think I want to interview someone on Fresno State. You got anybody in mind?
I mean, there are a few, right? But I think the one that we want to, one, so we can give a formal apology of the name butchering, and two, because some of the most fantastic Genji play I think I've seen at some of the most crucial times, right? Very nice turnaround with this DPS check, more or less, flashing out a couple kills and saving a lot of those engages. I think Suguru is someone that I would like to at least give a little bit of time on air and see if we could get some thoughts and insight to how a DPS follows some of those extremely quick and hectic playstyles that Fresno State was putting out.
Definitely. And I mean, if anything else, we can at least find out if we're saying it right. I mean, maybe yeah, maybe miserable as far as interviews go. Maybe we don't find anything out other than how to pronounce the name, and I'm happy. I walk out of here a happy man if I can at least have that by the end of the night. So let's see if we can get Saguru in here. We'll wait for production to try and pull him on in. But I mean, in the meantime, Blizzard World looked clean.
Mhm.
Fresno looks good on Blizzard World. If I'm other teams going into a bout with them next week, the week after, Blizzard World might not be in the map rotation at this point, but I'm studying it going forward. Seeing how they play a hybrid map like that, you got to look out for a lot of things from them.
Yeah, and going back to the basics of Overwatch, right? This is one of the fundamental things that makes it so scary, that makes it so entertaining to watch, is how quickly you can switch from compositions, right? League of Legends, you are stuck with those same characters for 40, 50 minutes on end. You don't have a choice. Same with some of these over games, Valorant, you have very specific sets that you are stuck in. Overwatch is one of the very few that lets you swap 30 seconds, one team composition. You could have, that Soldier 76. You could have that Tracer, and all of a sudden you're coming out against a McCree and Echo. Where the heck did that come from? How is that going to change up the game, right? And I love the adaptation that we're seeing. So I believe we do have one member from the 3-0 team, Fresno State, Suguru. I believe we are saying it correctly. How are you doing?
Yo, I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I think we're
Doing
doing
well.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing well. Appreciate you asking. So, just we gotta there's an elephant in the room, all right? Can you just slowly pronounce your name?
All right, all right, all right. I'll do it one time.
Okay, one
Two.
time for me.
Okay, Sugureru. Sugureru. There
We
we
were
go.
both okay, so we were both kind of right, right?
Yeah.
So you were doing the rura at the end, right? And I was doing
Yeah.
the sagu. You were doing the rura and I had the sagu. We put it together and we've nailed it. So anyway, I'm gonna call you Saguru and disregard everything you said. However,
Okay.
um looking at this Fresno State team, you guys look pretty dominant. Walk me through Blizzard World. That looked extremely practiced. It looks like you found yourself in 20 or 30 scrims before this game. Was there a game plan going into Blizzard World? Because a Genji defense wasn't what I was expecting. With a hero that, at least in my opinion, and I don't play at the same level, but hey, 43, 4400 on consoles got to count for something, right? I don't see a ton of Genji. I consider him C tier almost. What's the reason for the Genji here on defense Blizzard World?
So, in all honesty, us as a team, we had a little bit of a roster change, right? We had a couple practices in. It was nothing too fancy, but we did get this comp that we ran on Blizzard World. We got it done, and then we figured, yo, let's try it. What could go wrong? And then we went ahead and did it, and gladly enough, it worked out.
Definitely. Definitely. So the Genji maybe not something that was supposed to stick, but you found out that it worked and the nanoblades were popping off. Except, I mean, were you thinking the fight was over when Wild hit that nutty sleep on you?
Yes, I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's insane. But luckily, my team was there to back me up, and yeah, I was happy.
Definitely, definitely. And speaking of, you came out with the soldier at one point. How demoralizing was it to see Juicy State come out with the duplicate, knock you off with the Helix Rock, and then find two more in that play of the game?
Right there, my heart was a little broken, to be honest. I was like, okay, we're gonna get this recontest, we're gonna do it, but then I get copied and I get shut down pretty quickly.
But hey, you immediately snapped back onto the Echo and took it right back to her. So you were popping off on DPS there. One last question for you before I pass it over to Orbital. As a team here, what kind of prep goes in there? Go walk me through whether it be your coaching staff, if you're looking for scrims, or if it's mostly VOD reviews. What do you go in for? Is at least from what you can tell me without letting too much out. What is the normal prep time to look like?
So, of course, we're all college students. We're all a little busy, but I'd say we're blessed with a pretty good coach, Coach Metal. He's went through many strategies with us. He now books our scrims, but overall, like he's a great coach to have. He helps us all. Our main factor that I think makes us excel is our good chemistry. So I think that's our one defining factor that keeps us doing well.
Definitely, definitely. Well, a good shout out to Coach Metal there. Orbital, I'll pass it off to you. Talk to me about Saguru. Ask him some questions, man.
I think you hit every single one. There is one that I do want to ask. Looking from game to game, game number one, little rocky in only one of the rounds, right? You dropped it to a 2-1. Second one, you took it away. Third one, uh, throughout the entire series, I want to get your thoughts. Moving forward, it got a little bit closer and closer. Do you expect other teams in this league to have the same, or are there any teams that you are looking forward to facing off directly as well?
So I'm pretty sure there's some tough teams here that we're gonna be coming up against. I'm looking forward to the match against Boise if we do get a chance to do that. But yeah, there's some tough competition. So let's hope us at Fresno State can perform.
All right. Well, there you go. Thank you so much. That's the only one I had. So thank you so much for joining us here, Sugireru, on the mic. And again, congratulations to a 3-0 victory to kick things off for week number one. Now, with that, I believe that will be all for our broadcast here. And it looks like actually no, I lied. So I've been proven wrong as quickly
Yeah.
as I thought I was right. So we're gonna get a another interview, I believe, and that was which one I believe.
Hey, well, Twitch chat has prevailed once again. The dictatorship that they are has forced us to interview Frosty, and hey, I'm happy to hang on the mic
Oh,
and continue to do it. Let's get Frosty in here. He absolutely popped off on his tracer. I've got him in here now. Frosty, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. The game didn't go as we'd hoped, but hopefully we can keep getting better, keep improving, and yeah, I'm excited for more games to come.
Definitely. I can only imagine you were able to really solidify your spot as a fantastic flex DPS here for the side of UC Davis. Kind of walk me through Dorado, a crazy map that led to a lot of overtime contest. I mean, we were screaming over here. If you go back and watch the broadcast back, we're talking about these 2.5, 3 minute long street phase that turn in from both sides to these 45-second overtime fights of desperately clinging to that payload. Walk me through the comms during those final moments.
Honestly, my ears aren't as ringing as much as they should, as you'd expect. But yeah, it just turned into like, oh, winnable, winnable. No, 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 get out, get out. No, 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 it's still winnable, winnable, winnable. And then then it just ended up into that from there. You can make the argument that we should have been cleaner, but yeah, we'll go over that in VOD reviews later on. But
I
yeah, no.
think, and once again, if you watch that broadcast back, I think both of us were talking about how Dorado wasn't really clean for either
Mm-mm.
team, but that kind of made it even more fun to watch, right? Like Blizzard World looked fantastic for Fresno.
Yeah.
Busan was back and forth from both of you, and then Dorado kind of a mess when it came to overtime. And even to the very end, like you mentioned, it was winnable, right? Ecal
Yeah.
held long enough for Oompa Loompa to get back on that Winston, and just unlucky that he got booped off because you were right behind, right,
Yeah.
just about to be back on the Tracer. Juicy, she was right there on the Echo. I mean, crazy how things went down, but not quite able to hold on. When you look at these series going forward, what is the preparation as you are down, 0-1 in the series here, excuse me, or in the season as week one concludes? What are you looking at week two? Is it just more VOD reviews? Is it more scrims? What are you looking at?
Honestly, like there's just a bunch of issues that we fix and are fixable, but I think the first thing that stood out was just our focus fire and comms. Like we were just calling too many different targets at once, and then it gets a little bit confusing. And honestly, one of the switches that we made going to Dorado though was that our team captain just straight up said, "All right, guys, this map doesn't really matter as much, so just try and play however you want, and we'll try and follow." So
I
maybe
think I said that too on air.
yeah, so maybe that was a factor in how we did better, but obviously, not good enough. So yeah, I guess focus fire and cleaning comms would be the number one priority going forward.
Well, I mean, hey, if you take Blizzard World out of the equation, all the games were close, right? Blizzard World looked a little rough. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie to you. I think you guys
yeah,
definitely experienced that. It's a problem when there's a Zenyatta sitting at your spawn door. I think I
yeah,
talked about the
no, for
last
sure.
series too, but something's going wrong. But I'll tell you what, you cleaned it up. You were able to pop off. You and Juicy both, on different sides of the spectrum here, really able to once again solidify that spot as a nutty DPS when things were not going your way for the majority of the series. So if that's how you guys look in a series that once again not going in your favor, I'm excited to watch both of you absolutely pop off as we move forward in the season.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. Hopefully, I can deliver, and yeah, I hope
Definitely. Well, Twitch chat thinks so. We think so. Orbital, you want to have some questions for him, man?
No, just any thoughts moving forward, any shout outs that you want to do, or any teams that you are looking forward to face off again or for the first time.
Oh, well, first of all, I'd like to give a huge shout out to, well, first of all, the team for bringing me on, because actually, if you look at my player profile, I've been a Heartstuck plat for basically all of Overwatch. So, so they took me in, and they've been super patient with me, just training me as a player. And I'd also like to give a huge shout out to our coach, Budget, who, without like, he just donates his time to us, and like, he's been super helpful in making sure the team grows as a whole. And so, huge shout out to Budget for just donating his time. And honestly, the team that I'm most excited to go against is UCSC. They're a really good team, like a very good team, and they knocked us out of TESPA a while ago when we were in the playoffs. So you know, I hope it goes more like our other matches, and hopefully we can get a win. But yeah, I'm really excited for the rematch, and I hope we can put on a good show.
All right, well, there you go. Thank you so much for joining us here, and good luck in your future matches. That was Frosty, everyone. And again, congratulations to Fresno State and UC Davis for their fantastic show here. I believe that will be it. So, Unicorn, any final thoughts as well, as you have been casting, I think, for most of the days. So, any thoughts on this opening week? I mean, we've had some fantastic games so far.
I mean, just want to remind everyone in Twitch chat, we're just getting started. I mean, this is week one, right? Stick around. We've got Rocket League. We've got a ton of different games to watch. We've got a ton of different series to watch. Overwatch on Thursdays. Stick around. You'll see more of this ugly face, see more of Orbital's beautiful face. You'll be able to jump in, hang out with a variety of different casters, root for your favorite players. And hey, clearly we listen to Twitch chat. We talk to Frosty per your command. Oh, Twitch chat. We're happy to work with you all the time. That's it for me, Orbital. If you want to sign us off, happy to be here as always, man.
Yep. And once again, to all you viewers at home, thank you so much for joining us along this entire day. I know it's very late for some people. And so I want to say a very big thank you. We are just getting started. Like Unicorn, you said, again, week one, week two coming up. And as well as tomorrow, Hearthstone, sorry, is coming out and playing a couple matches. So make sure to tune into that. But that will be it from us here at the desk on the night for the Overwatch's first week here at the NECC. Very sorry. So once again, my name is Orbital. I was joined here with Unicorn. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a fantastic night.
Have a good night, everybody.